One. All right. And we are
Are we live?
live.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Hold
Oh
on.
my goodness. Welcome to
Where
the
did my?
Wireless Shit Show.
Uh,
August 17th, episode
oh, there we go.
58, right? We're on episode 58 now.
Uh,
113.
13.
Close enough. Hey, and we just had Friday the 13th, so it's a sign.
Yes. Kovitsky goes on time. Yes. Surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm getting better at this on time thing.
We are getting better at this. On this
You are good at on time. It is me. I would take full responsibility. Tara's always like, I got the room open. I'm here. I'm ready to talk. And it's me that's like, hold on. I'm driving back. Or I'm getting food. Or such and such. Now here we are. And today we have a special guest.
I am. Yes, we have. But before we introduce him, it's been a week. Anything you want to share?
Really? I survived the DEF CONs, the post DEF CONs, passed multiple COVID tests, so super stoked about that. Do have a lot of fills and miss it. It went by really fast, so yeah, wish get back there and do some more DEF CON action. What about you, Kentaro?
So we had rain season is officially over, but we had about 10 days of constant rain, and it rained so much that it started ruining the books in my bookshelf, and I'm really pissed about that.
Oh wow.
And people are like, well, you should run the AC. It's like, damn it, I am running the AC, and still my books pages are like bulking up, and I'm like, because I got some books that are not like professionally bound. They're like independent prints.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, yeah. But yeah, it finally stopped raining. The last week I haven't done anything productive. I've been a waste of biological matter, leaching off this earth. I haven't walked. I ate a shit ton of junk food. I played a ton of hours on this new RPG game that I'm playing on my Switch. Took a lot of peas. That's about it. That's literally my last 7 days.
Oh my gosh.
I have gotten my mojo level is low, and I've gone through this enough that at this level there's nothing I can force it to come up, so I'm just going to wait for the tank to fill up.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that. So the shop is a mess. I don't care. I've ate so many junk food things that I don't even know what it's good. I haven't walked at all. Well, it's probably because of the rain, but
right.
Also I didn't feel like it. So yeah, I've been basically a waste of biological matter.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That sucks.
That's all right.
It's all right. I've been picking up your slack. I've been running and riding my bike.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me find it. Oh yeah, there.
That seems appropriate.
Yeah. All right. Simply Pete, congratulations on the new name change or the new name. Milkman, thanks for dropping by. I'm sure your wife doesn't appreciate us keeping you up so late. Neighborhood
I do
Brock.
appreciate you very much, man.
I did not order wait, did I order another motherboard? No. I did not order another motherboard.
Oh, speaking of stuff, so I ordered these helium miners that are the
right.
They showed up today. They were supposed to come in October, and they came today. So, yeah, I haven't cracked them open yet. I already know what's on the inside. They're basically Raspberry Pis with, not basically, they're literally a Raspberry Pi with a module, a cape. Is it Raspberry Pi's capes? No. Hats, right? Raspberry Pi's hats, yeah. So with a hat on it, and then, yeah, so I'm gonna reverse engineer the shit out of it. So that's
the thing is, you should like, we should do an episode of that where you just tear the shit down of those things.
Okay, well, let me actually like try some things, so I'm not like bumbling around like, oh, this is a screwdriver. No, that's a phone.
Wait, how is that different from every show we do?
Well, at least can I just like maybe figure out where the screws are first?
That's a good point.
Yeah, we could totally do it. I would be totally down to
both
do that.
you and Someone Man, once again, not sponsored by. All right. So that's the catch up. We have a guest today.
Absolutely. Super stoked to have the guest we have today.
Yes. Welcome, wytshadow. Wytshadow.
It's so good to have you on.
Thank you.
We had this whole conversation early. How do we pronounce your handle?
Yeah.
And for anyone that is curious about his background, we'll go ahead and
well, let him introduce himself, man.
Okay, fine. I'll just put the thing, I just put the graphic on the screen. Go ahead and
Hello.
Tell us who you are.
Yeah, sure. wytshadow, or Steve Derricott in the real world, but on the internet, everyone calls me wytshadow. A little bit about myself. I was in the Air Force under Space Command. That's basically everything that became Space Force was that one job in the Air Force. So they just one day just said, hey, everyone in the Air Force with this one job, you're now the Space Force. And that's kind of where the Space Force came from. So that's where I learned my RF fundamentals and radio and all of that stuff, working with satellites. And then once I got out of the military, I decided not to do anything with that and went the whole cyber network pen testing route and went into that whole world of being a consultant and traveling the world and hacking into companies. And as a consultant, you're kind of a generalist in all the things that you do with web app testing, internal network, external network, Wi-Fi, physical, remote social engineering, physical security. I mean, all the things. And so it's cool to do that because you see people kind of gravitate towards what they're good at. And I happen to gravitate towards Wi-Fi and started doing some of that stuff. And then doing those tests a lot, you start to learn how to automate things. And so me and another guy came up with a tool called Sniffer that we originally presented at B-Sides Las Vegas at 2017. There's a Wi-Fi kind of pen testing framework, similar. I guess the idea would be similar to Metasploit and how you have modules, attacking modules, as well as just PCAP analysis modules, I guess is the best way to kind of describe them. It was really good for throwing in a bunch of PCAPs and just pulling out the information that you needed from it.
Why have I not used this?
Hey, wytshadow. Yeah. Talking about Sniffer, any plans on upgrading for Python 3?
Yeah, actually, I've been working on doing exactly that. And
okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. It was more of a
is it on GitHub or anything? Because I would love to contribute.
Yes.
Just share the link.
The guy that I made it with, it's on his GitHub, Tylus, Tylous or 0US. He actually just came out with some tools and was in the Red Team Village this year. Scarecrow, I think, is the tool that he just put out. And then so since we made Sniffer together, he's kind of gone the Red Team route and started making tools for making payloads and malleable profiles for Cobalt Strike and stuff like that. So it's on GitHub. It's on his GitHub. And it is outdated. The way that we made it originally, it used Scapy to tear apart PCAP files, and then we would throw all that into a SQL database, and then all of the modules essentially were just making queries from that SQL database. But now that Kismet has changed and doesn't spit out PCAP files, and it actually spits out its own SQL database. In the rewrite that I'm doing for Sniffer to move to Python 3, I'm also going to just start attaching directly to those Kismet databases and just making queries from that, and also connecting to Kismet as it's running. So instead of using the web UI, you're just using Python web requests to do the same things that you would normally do. Because I don't know about y'all, but I use that Kismet web UI, and like you try to enable an interface and it doesn't work, or you try to lock it to a channel and it does for a second, but then goes back to whatever it was previously at. Or I don't know if it's the web UI or what.
It's not. It's USB. It is absolute USB if you're using. Because I had zero problem switching in front of multiple live demos between Black Hat and DEF CON with my PCI Express adapters. So yeah, I definitely think there's something, because I had big problems when I had multiple USB adapters too. But anyways, that's beside the point. I definitely know your pain very much so, and
sure.
I've not had any issues with the PC Express.
Right on. I'll have to give that a shot.
Yeah, also for the people who are here who haven't seen it, you should definitely go watch what wytshadow did last year for the RF Village, talking about GPS dongles and
that was a super sick talk, man.
I know, right? I was like, my wallet hates you for that. Because like every time I'm on Amazon, it's like, oh, I should throw in that GM3 whatever dongle, and that's like, another $60. But I'm like, see, that way I can have my shipping costs justified. So I'm more just so like, you know, my kids sometimes like, hey, can you order from Amazon US? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. Throw in the GPS, right? So I've bought so many of these. I've recommended so many of those. Jeez, man, those things are awesome. They're ridiculous to a degree, but
Yeah, I've done a few other con presentations, but that one, it was like I can't stand the sound of my voice or any of that. Like watching my own presentations, but that was one where I felt good submitting that. I was like, yeah, this is good. People are gonna like this. Like very rarely do you ever feel good about public speaking or anything, but that one.
I mean, very rarely is GPS that exciting. Unless you're like in a GIS nerd, like, you know, myself a little bit, but you know, it's just like I'm like, you know, that was a great show. So the reason why we have you here on this show today is that we figured that since we had Grimace on as the champion of the war driving CTF, we figured we have you on. You offered, and I accepted it gracefully. You accepted gracefully, not me, I gracefully you. But to come on and you know, and talk about how it was as competing in the RFCTF, not the double CTF, RFCTF, as a participant and captain, I guess. Are you the captain or?
Yeah.
All right.
So I have the scoreboards on the channel or on the screen. So just FYI. So yes, tell us, Captain. Oh, Captain,
captain. I guess you had your team. What's your team?
What the Freak.
All right, nice.
That's a good name.
Congratulations on winning the whole thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
But so how long has this team been active in competing in the wireless or RF CTFs?
So this would be the third DEF CON that we played in. And prior to that, we played in ShmooCon of that same year. So I think ShmooCon 2019 was the first time that I played. Yeah. And I had looked at it at DEF CON 2018 and been like, yeah, all right, next year I'm coming back. I'm coming for this. And so I kind of knew and did some research ahead of time on kind of what to expect. And then playing at ShmooCon 2019 was not only just to play for the first time, but just to get intel on the challenges and what's all there. Because I honestly thought it was just going to be Wi-Fi, and was a little cocky thinking that I was going to go in there and do big things, and I didn't do shit. Like it was me and one other guy. We played the entire weekend of ShmooCon, and we only got 200 points. So for people that don't play the game, the winning team usually has between like 4,000 and 6,000 points at the end of the game. So to get only 200 for the all of ShmooCon, I mean, we were there as soon as they opened and until they kicked us out every day, and it was just me and one other guy. And so you learn a lot, and a lot of it was due to the offense coming from the other players, because Majestic 12 likes to play like they're at DEF CON all the time. And I think that's what really attracted me to the game. Is like, aside from it being a CTF, is just the offense between players that's going on. It makes it really feel like a hacker contest. Like that's what drew me to it. And I was like, yeah, all right, I want to play. So yeah.
So basically you got a bunch of friends together and started a team. Is that how it came about, or?
Yeah.
Did you put out a call for members?
Yeah. So
post on the BBS.
One of my friends, Solstice, who also made a cool wireless hacking tool called EPAMmer. Wait,
your friend made that? I saw that. I was in that talk live at DEF CON like some years ago.
Yeah. So we met kind of doing the whole talk circuit while I was doing Sniffer talks and going to various cons. He was doing EPAMmer talks, kind of doing the whole talk circuit thing. And then he moved out to Denver, and I just hit him up and was like, hey man, we're Wi-Fi guys. We got to stick together. And then
that's freaking awesome.
He started introducing me to people that wanted to play, because I honestly didn't know anyone outside of my circle that wanted to really throw down. And so I owe it all to him, really. He introduced me to pretty much everyone that's on the team now. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And then for some reason, I just kind of took over. Everyone's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, oh, I guess I need to decide what we're doing. And then kind of went from there. It all happened very organically of how the team kind of came together. And there's like at this last DEF CON, there was me and one other guy that were solving challenges the whole time for all of DEF CON. But we have team members that'll just pop in, solve one challenge, and then you won't see them for the rest of the time, which is great. I love that. I mean, that takes away challenges and time that I would have to take away from the other stuff to take care of stuff like that. So it's good to have that mix of people. Definitely. What's the I can't even think of the phrase, but power in numbers, strength in numbers. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's definitely a strength in numbers game, because that's one thing that I learned is trying to play it by myself is that you can't. You could be the most badass dude in the world, but if you're playing against teams like Majestic 12 and Blunderbuss and Phobos Cartel, you can't do it by yourself, because they're not playing by themselves and they have years of experience, and it shows.
Yeah, that's crazy. What was like one of the defining moments this year for your guys' team?
The defining moment had to have been just all the war drivers. So the way that the game kind of ended, we were down almost 2,000 points. I think we were down like 1,400 or so before they turned off the scoreboard. So for the last 30 minutes of the game, and then they added in all the points from war driving, and we had pretty much the top 5 war drivers were on the team, which was awesome, because I totally just reached out to strangers on the internet and just said, hey, there's a team that always wins this game, and if you war drive for my team, we could probably beat them. So help me out. And that everyone's like, sure. So Grimace, El Cantaro, Spiky Roche, Ordo Ouroboros, I See Your Net. All those 5 people were basically the top 5 war drivers at the end of the contest. And so we got 2,000, I think it was like 2,100 points at the very end of the game, and jumped from 3rd to 1st just out of nowhere, completely unexpected. So
and I think there was some misunderstanding that the war drivers got recruited mid-game, but it wasn't the case. We got recruited, most of us, at least. When I showed up, Grimace was already there, but it was like RFCTF even started. The war driving already had started, and we kept posting our findings on the wiggle board. Yeah. And then wytshadow just comes like, hey, can we have your points for the CTF? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm not doing shit with them anyway. I mean,
it's not gonna hurt.
I don't know how much I'm gonna score, but yeah, you can have my points. So
that's quite a power move.
Yeah, so I was driving too at the beginning of the week, but I had issues with my equipment. I believe Arkasha mentioned it when he was on the show. He mentioned something about a time traveler. It was my my Nexus tablet was whenever you would upload through the Wiggle app, the timestamps were just from like 2001 or
hey, we found the time traveler.
yeah, we found the time traveler. And it was the points didn't plot, and so like I went to Wiggle and downloaded the KML, threw them into Google Earth, and like drew my quad on there. I'm like, look, these points are on here. And we went, it was probably like Wednesday or Thursday of that week by the time they're like, okay, we figured out what it is. And at that point I was just like, I'm not going to drive, so I might as well just recruit people who are already on top of the scoreboard. And at that point I already had Grimace, El Cantaro, and I See Your Net on the team. So then I was just looking to see who's top 5, and that's when I asked Spiky Roche and Ouroboros, I think is how you say that guy's name, and asked them to join at that point, because I figured the other teams were going to catch on to what I was doing when they started seeing the names join the team on the scoreboard. So I figured I'd get all the names that I could before they started.
So the winning strategy for winning RFCTF is hiring.
Well, but hiring implies that you got paid, and I assume you did it out of the goodness of your heart.
Recruiting.
Speaking of that, I do have stuff that I'm going to send to all the drivers on my team. So I got some alpha ACMs. If you saw my talk last year, the awesome GPS dongles, I'm going to send all those out to people as well, and maybe something else. But yeah, no, just to show my appreciation for trusting a stranger on the internet with your random CTF points.
Arkash is in the chat. He goes, strangers on the internet are the best candy. Yeah. And you were actually one of the 2 time travelers. So.
There's multiple time travelers. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's awesome. Dude, we talk about like a really heads up play though by you, like from a management perspective, like being able to foresee that and then scoop that up. So nice job on that.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's I thought it was funnier than shit, and then it's just like, because like for me, the war driving is the most important. I'll play on the RFCTF just to beat dark matter score, which is 0. But
well, I didn't even register for RFCTF this year because I was so busy with demo labs.
So, other than that, if somebody can use my points, sure, why not? And I learned a lot from the team. But like I said, when we had when we had Grimace and the others on, and I talked about it, it's like, look, I mean, usually I'm just sitting here, taking on the challenges as I waste, as I have time here and not doing things. So, given it's your third year, how does it feel like when that first time when you score 200 points to, I mean, that's a meteoric rise, right? From 200 points to 4,000 points. So,
on top of the scoreboard too. Nonetheless.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, it feels surreal, but each year we solve a little bit more, and you see your score just kind of gets higher and higher each year as you figure out more and more of the challenges. The competition's kind of based up, the way I think about it is there's these kind of baseline challenges, like all the Wi-Fi, and then majority of the SDR challenges like Morse code and ASK and all the ham radio challenges. Those are what I would refer to as like the baseline kind of challenges that every team has to solve. And then they throw out these exotic challenges like hitting the ISS and hitting the digipeater on that, the virtual fox hunting on site. They usually, or badge cloning, or they had IR one year where you had to receive IR stuff and play with that because Eric Escobar did a talk on hacking IR stuff. And so I feel like those are really where the game is made or where the game is won, because basically all the teams that play the game year after year can solve those baseline challenges, and what wins the game is those exotic ones, the fox hunting at the hotels. And that's where Majestic 12 really shined and just beat everyone because they were really good at hunting foxes. And this year they weren't paying attention to war driving, and I was. So
White Shadow is being modest. I mean, White Shadow alone scored 1,500, close to 1,600 points on the scoreboard. So clearly, there's some skills involved in there. And like,
for sure,
for myself, like I played. First time I actually really played was like, I don't know. I think it was like Circle City Con or maybe some other con that had it on, and I scored like 200 points, cracking 210 points because I think Pen 2 was a flag and I just got that. But like, yeah, I mean, I cracked 2 webs and I was like, yeah, well, fine. I cracked web. Cool. But this time, like I said, I cracked double PA, cracked double PA 2. I scored a couple points on the board with that. And then my war driving kicked in. So kicked me over another couple points. It's exactly that. Trend Micro, not shilling the company, but they used to sponsor an RFCTF at PAXEC here in Tokyo. First year around, they're like, hey, can you play? Because we don't have any players. And, like, yeah, sure. And I solved like 2 flags. And then the next year they came around and said, can you do it again? And I solved like 4 or 5. So, definitely, I mean, playing the game actually does improve your skills because you learn little by little, right? And I like the way the Wi-Fi CTF or the RF CTF is structured in a way that, like you said, there's a baseline, but once you solve these baseline, the next level isn't like isn't like a huge chasm. It's like, you need better skills and maybe better tools and, better instinct, but it's still approachable. And then, like, for myself, I see myself getting better and better little by little, and so I like that structure. Where unlike where it's not like some random CTFs. Some CTFs they're so random. You're like 40% is luck.
Right.
Just like
or they have you brute forcing some challenge or something. That's why I love that they give you the word list for all the Wi-Fi challenges.
Right.
So you don't have to spend eternity trying to guess a pre-shared key, and then you may not even get it because it's not in your word list or whatever. So Yeah, I hate stuff like that where you're.
I mean, it makes it fair, right? It doesn't make it like one of those card build or deck building games where whoever has the biggest word list has the better chance, right?
Right. Yeah.
Who spends the most money wins.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So. No, very cool, man. Very cool. Given that, I mean, what's the idea of going forward on the team?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, I mentioned just like kind of the stuff that made me fall in love with the game was all the offense and stuff between players. So I feel like Majestic 12 set a really good standard of if someone's going to be the champ of the game, they have to be able to walk the walk. And that's definitely something. If the contest is in person next year, then my team, we're definitely already scheming for what we're going to do in terms of distractions and all kinds of stuff. So just examples of the past of what Majestic 12 has done, or they're standing up false challenges or sending fake handshakes to legitimate challenges. So you think that you capture a handshake, and they'll use the same word list too. So you'll crack it and it'll be in the word list, and then you go and submit it as a flag, and it doesn't do anything.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
You're just wasting time. Or you'll see the village people, they'll spectrum paint like their logo over the signals for the challenges.
Right.
And Majestic 12 put their logo on top of the challenges after they solved them, so nobody else could solve them. And it's stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, all right, I can do that. And so we're definitely gonna step up our game for sure. And that's because that's honestly part of the game as well. When you're on site like that, you have to have people solving challenges, and then you have to have people running offense against other teams as well. There's a lot of that just you have to do it, otherwise they're going to be doing it and they're going to beat you. So yeah, we're definitely going to be ready for that. And I'd say my team was definitely more casual with our preparation, and being that there really wasn't much. But I think I'm definitely going to start putting in some practice and stuff, and trying to put in some little scrimmages or something in between cons to kind of keep people familiar with what to expect and stuff like that. So definitely taking it seriously. Yeah, I want to.
Now you're defending champ.
Yeah,
it's always easier to chase than being chased. So
yeah, for sure. And we definitely recognize that we're going to be defending champs, and we want to win a black badge like everyone does. So it seems the only way to do that is to win in person. So we're going for it.
Well, I mean, talk about offense. Dark Matter has a mean pole dancing routine if you need one. So.
Pole dancing and shiny lights. I got you.
Shiny lights. Yeah. So yeah, I think we had some good chats, and Milkman is sharing some of his experiences on playing on the Majestic team. Not this year, I guess he was in Open Sock this year. And then neighbor of Brock says it's nice that you can use the challenge to measure progress in learning and skills, and I agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's unlike some CTS where they totally change the format every year. I think this one is more of a skill building in real. And I think the councils of Rick said it before that they want to keep the CTF close to real environment that you end up maybe you have to go red team or do site surveillance and things like that. So I think the whole RF CTF is definitely that. Like I said, this year for me at least, I took on some of the Wi-Fi challenges because those are the ones I'm used to. I didn't do any of the RF or SDR stuff, which I could have, I guess, but I'm like, I don't know, So no, definitely that's another genre of stuff that I want to get into. SDR always has been a little bit too raw for my taste,
Right. And it's weird to see both sides of, like, I feel that most pen testers start with Wi-Fi because that's what they're used to with like a network pen test. Like they want to crack the Wi-Fi so that they can get on the network and start doing a pen test. But when you talk to people in this world, they're like, oh no, you need to start with RF fundamentals and go the SDR route. And then there's a lot of people that think the SDR stuff is easier than Wi-Fi. And it's cool to see both sides of it. And yeah, I'm one of those guys that started with Wi-Fi, and the SDR stuff is still like new to me. I mean, we're in there solving some of the basic ones, but yeah. Definitely didn't get them all.
I mean, I've been saying this. I think a real RFCTF challenge should be somebody gets a blank Linux Ubuntu and get GNU Radio up and running. The first one wins the points.
Right.
So,
yeah. But no, the setup of the game is actually really close to what I do in my day-to-day job. Being a wireless kind of pen tester in the world of COVID, when I first got hired for the job, it was supposed to be like 50% traveling, all the time. But because of COVID, we're like, nope, can't travel. So we need to ship out something or come up with something. And we basically ship out a Raspberry Pi with every kind of dongle plugged into it. And it's almost exactly like the RFCTF. You're SSHing into a machine and using tools like AeroDump, or you'll run Kismet and then view it with your browser through an SSH tunnel or whatever. And same thing with the SDR challenges. I mean, we have SDRs plugged in, and we don't use ZMQ, we use RTL TCP, but same idea of streaming the signals back over the network and then looking at them with your own software on the distant end. So in that aspect, it's awesome. It's great that I can keep my chops up at work, even when I'm not trying to, and then also do the same thing in the game. It translates very well from day job to nighttime fun time hobby.
Yeah, that's nice to have that complementary.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Neighbor of Brack says it was funny that I dig all the SDR crap and just started getting it to Wi-Fi. And I think that's a unique challenge of the RFCTF, right? I mean, it's all radio frequencies, but there's like you said, I mean, there's the space station stuff, there's the fox hunting, there's the SDR, there's the ham radio stuff, and then there's the Wi-Fi stuff, right? So and it brings in a lot of people, like, ironically, the way I got into wireless is I started with, when I was a kid, I got a scanner and I just started listening, and then I started building on the scanner, and then I started desoldering this scanner board to get better frequency coverage and shit like that. So, it's always interesting to see that, and then, I guess for a team, you're going to need all the talent. I mean, I don't think a team with just Wi-Fi experts could win, right. at the current, scoring that is going on. Exactly. And I think this year you proved that war drivers can be a very valuable asset, especially if you have one guy who scores like 1,100 points just by war walking. Looking at you, Grimace.
Yeah, that's what happened last year. Was I was too head down into the game, solving challenges and stuff. And after the game was over, I started looking at Twitter, and I saw Zero or one of the Ricks talking shit like, oh, why isn't Grimace on a team? Why doesn't anyone get Grimace on their team? And then this was all after the game was over, and I was like, oh, why didn't I do that? I should have got Grimace on the team. And so I wasn't going to let that happen again this year. So I hit him up well before the driving started to recruit him. I was surprised that I was the only guy that reached out to him. That's what was shocking to me, that nobody else was. That everyone was just content with Grimace not being on a team again. Like, okay, all's a mistake.
Armand says, I started war driving this year, and it kind of got me into SDR, and now ham radios, all the signals. So yes, all the signals. So
yep.
No, that is awesome, man. Do you plan to share out some of the ways you tackle the challenges, or is that going to be a team secret?
No, I think the community is really open to sharing the ways to solve all the challenges and stuff. I believe it was Blunderbuss that put out that whacker tool for brute forcing WPA3. I mean, my team, we kind of had our own version that was not as good as that. So it was really cool for them to put that tool out there. So yeah, absolutely. If there's anyone that has a question about a challenge, I'd love to answer it. And what's funny is there's one of the Wi-Fi challenges was on OWE, and me and Solstice actually did a talk at the last in-person DEF CON on OWE attacks, and we did a bunch of the research on OWE attacks, and I didn't solve that challenge. I feel like a turd for that, but
hey, I mean, I know a guy who has a shit ton of non-USB PCIe capture boards, and he didn't score shit on the board. So just because you know how to do it or you have done it before doesn't make you do it again when it comes. So
yeah, for sure.
That's absolutely the truth, because like you could come to RFCTF with an RTL SDR and a cheap wireless adapter, and if you have the knowledge, you can probably rip pretty hard on the scoreboard.
Yeah. So the first game that I played at ShmooCon in 2019, I dragged a buddy there with me to ShmooCon, and he had never plugged in any kind of dongle into his computer ever. And the whole time I was like, "Oh, I'll teach you Wi-Fi stuff. Don't worry, it's fine. When we get there, I'll show you." And then I totally, as soon as the game started, I just got that head down into my keyboard. And he just started Googling stuff and using the dongles that I brought, and started scoring points right then and there. I had like RTL SDR. He started scoring like the POC ones, like with decrypting pager stuff, and yeah. And I was blown away by that. So I was like, huh, anyone really can pick this up and start scoring points, even if they had never even plugged in anything in their computer. All it takes is a willingness to learn and just not being afraid of failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to mess it up. And if you're not playing at DEF CON, the village people are pretty nice if you ask them, like, "Hey, what's up with this challenge?" But I mean, DEF CON's the Olympics, so they're not trying to help out people then. But yeah, if you go to some of the other cons where the contest is, the contest organizers are more willing to give you hints and stuff as far as how to solve the challenges go.
What are you laughing at?
Yeah, they're giving hints. That's impressive. Yeah. That's very uncharacteristic for them. So it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. I mean, looking at the Discord, there was some hint droppings once in a while. They're like, "Why are you guys not doing this?" And I'm like, "Oh." Because I think one of the challenges was just got everybody stumped, right? It's just like, I think it was 2 on the
yeah, it was one of the web ones.
Yeah, it was an open web with no client or something, and then people are like, "Oh, what?" Just like, I know how to. Oh, by the way, from a contestant point of view, how hard is it to crack web? Because I did crack a couple webs. Dark matter.
Well done, sir.
It's easy if you know what you're doing.
That seems to be my general problem. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I played at Circle City Con, at least I was like, man, it's been ages since I cracked web. I'm looking up like 12-year-olds explaining how to crack web using AirCrack on YouTube, and like, well, here you go. Here you have your adapter. You put it in monitor mode, and then you launch AeroDump. I'm like, yes, master. Yes, master.
No, I did that when I was a consultant. I was doing a wireless pen test for a company, and they had, I think it was like their AV, like their audio video equipment in one of their conference rooms had a web network on it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do this real quick. I had to do the same thing. I had to pull up a YouTube video because they're only like a minute long. That's all it takes. Like, okay, which one? Okay, yeah. And replay 3. Yeah, okay, I got it. Boom. And then, yeah, but because you rarely see it in the wild. So it's one of those things that you don't really practice that much. And so you have to look it up.
I mean, if you see it, it's usually a printer or something, right? And it's like, okay, so I get connected to a printer and then on the network, but it's somebody's home network. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do, right? So, Neighbor the Brack says, nice Wi-Fi pucks on the whiteboard, White Shadow.
Yeah, I think that's a Alpha AWS 36 US.
Ooh, somebody's flexing their alpha skills.
Is it a 36 or is it a 51? I think it's a 51.
Ooh.
Ooh. And then the one next to it is a RTLS or is a RTL 8812, isn't it?
No, it's actually like a, I don't know how to say it.
I think Neighbor of Brack just called out dark matter nerd.
That's a push radio, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know, is it Yesu? Is that Yeah, since I speak Japanese, I always want the oo on the end to be just silent, right? Yes. Yeah, no, it's the alpha's a 51 in H point version 2. The 36s weren't they black?
Yeah, the 36s are black. Yep, and those ones are G only, right?
Yeah,
numbers are G, and then the black ones are N.
Yeah, this one.
But that one does injection, so.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, I put them up there as a joke. So when I was on video calls and people are like, "Oh, this is the fucking wireless guy." Like, all of
Wait, where's your Yagi, man? You need like a big Yagi in the background.
I know.
yeah, it's off camera. I don't want to start grabbing stuff.
Wait, let's have an antenna contest. Hold on, I'll go get mine.
Oh yeah. Are we doing this? Are we doing this?
Oh, we do. I'll have to run downstairs to grab my antenna. Everybody left to go get antennas. Yes. Okay, as soon as they come back to start show. Oh shit! Okay, that's a UHF, right?
Yeah, it's the Arrow 2. What is it? HF and UHF, or I don't know. It's two things.
Yeah, I mean it's the distance. Like it's what, sub 100 megahertz on the short, and then less on the longer. I don't know. I can't remember my antenna theory.
Right, that's something I should know, but I don't. I just bought it so I could use my radio to hit the space station. I literally got this just for the CTF, just so I could do that ISS challenge.
Nice.
And I still didn't do it. Like standing outside, holding my phone up so I can see where it's supposed to be in the sky, and like, yeah, failed like 3 or 4 times.
It looks like the neighbor of Brack is schooling us. It's the 14 or 144 440 Yagi. So 2 meters and 70 centimeters.
There we go.
Word up. Okay, what's Kentaro got?
What's he got?
I don't need to overcompensate.
Oh, that's adorable. What is that? 13 dBi, 2.4 gigahertz. No, that's 2.4 gigahertz. No, that's like 10.
15 dBi, 5.7 gigahertz.
Oh, I was way.
The dual band.
Dual band.
Yeah, I got a couple of those from Simple Wi-Fi, but the
Exactly.
Okay, now I gotta go find my antenna. I'll be right back.
I have another one somewhere. You know, you haven't. Oh, wait. That was like a good old saw blade. Yeah. I have a couple of them lying around. I win. The stubby. Hey, how you know my nickname? So besides RF stuff, what are you into? Oh shit.
Oh.
I bring you my staff.
Oh, are we doing that? All right.
What?
So I was gonna take this and hook it up to one of my monitoring devices and use it as a walking stick around DEF CON 1 year.
Good deal.
Yeah, this one's dope. Any ideas? Well, this devolved quickly.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Boom.
Welcome to the shit show, folks.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah. This is why.
Wait, what's your antenna, Kataro?
Same
This,
one?
my friend, is a wideband receive discone element. So the elements are, it's not put together, but the elements are on the side. It just kind of points out sideways.
Ooh,
So it's like, it turns into like an umbrella with no thing.
very nice, very nice. This one is a 13 dBi Omni 2.4 gigahertz.
Damn.
My favorite.
I used to run a wireless internet provider, and so I have a bunch of archaic panels and crazy antennas.
Yeah, right on. 1 year. Oh, so the year that they did the war driving, I guess it was last year, and they didn't really tell what the details were going to be. Right? They just said, "Oh, war drive, wiggle, watch out, it's coming up." I didn't know what they were going to do, and I thought the contest might have been like, how many handshakes could you capture? So what I did is I had 2 Yagis, and in my truck I zip tied them right behind the headrest, so one was pointing out one way and the other one was pointing out that way, and I was just ready to make it rain D-offs. Yeah.
My antenna has the Punisher on it. So
There you go.
and it has like a
Is that a Pringles can?
Dude, no, this is a simple Wi-Fi directional antenna, man. Oh, shit. But talking about antenna, wow, shit, do I have one right here on there? There's a diamond antenna that I love. Oh, well, never mind. We'll do a show me antennas show in the future.
That'd be fun.
Picketing really everything. Yes.
Oh, speaking of that, Mr. Bill just is sending me a dope antenna he got. It's a car mount antenna. So I'll definitely have a cool one to show you here pretty soon.
Yeah, I got a couple of these too. Vivaldi antennas that I picked up off Tindy.
Oh, that just reminded me of my favorite antenna of all times. Hold on, one more.
Wait, I thought we're not doing antennas. Well, of course I did, but hey.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
What's the odds he's gonna bring out his favorite dildo? And we're like, that's not an antenna, my friend.
Okay, this is the most legit antenna. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Gonna be.
Oh, the Wireless Village. Yes.
Yeah, I got.
This antenna was so dope.
I got one of those.
May our powers combine.
Yeah, these are really cool antennas. And didn't Russ do the design for this?
Yeah. Don't Look Behind.
Yeah.
I think speaking of Don't Look Behind is having a show with Hack 5 with Darren. So
What?
that should be interesting.
When?
Yeah. I don't know. Soon.
Well, you can't just say soon. I need details.
All right, let me look it up, man. It was on the Twatters.
That's awesome.
For like a new show, I saw like.
Yeah, they're doing this new hack thing. What's not thing?
Or is it just like he's on one episode talking about something?
Yeah, no, he's gonna be on an episode talking about something.
Okay.
Well, of course, now I can't find this shit, but
well, we'll find it. We'll post it in
yeah,
the show notes.
we'll post
so
it. Yeah,
no big deal. I'll be retweeting it. Everybody will be retweeting it. That'll be dope.
And no, he's not the guy who developed Kismet. So there was this old episode where they had both of them on, but the screen cap had Russ on it, and it says we talked to Dragorn from Kismet, so people think that Russ is Dragorn and Dragorn is so. But
yeah, it's like the DEF CON documentary from DEF CON 20. They introduce Int 80 from Dual Core. They say his name is Dual Core on there, so everyone just calls him. That's the name of the group. There's two people in the group, and Int 80 is one of them. But because of that DEF CON documentary, like I'm sure a lot of people call him for that.
Yeah, this is always that. Sorry, I lost train of thought for a second there. The past week was not the teletype machine. Teletype machines were not. Or not yeah. Don't Look Behind is also Russ is doing a show on his teletype and other stuff. Another crazy. One of these days we should get him on here.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be a good one.
So anyway, any questions from the chats to the winner or team leader of the winning team, I guess, this year?
I have a quick question while we're waiting for the chat to process that, since there's a little delay. How many total people were on your team?
It's hard to say because the team itself is kind of big. There's just certain people that can't play for whatever reason. Maybe they couldn't make it to the conference or whatever. They're just busy doing DEF CON stuff or whatever. So the team itself is fairly large, but as far as like active players go, it was basically me and one other guy grinding on challenges the whole time. And then we'd have people kind of pop in for an hour or two here and there to kind of help out with whatever. But yeah, mainly just me and one other guy, and then 5 war driver.
Besides Grimace, did you have anybody else on site physically?
No. Yeah, so they had Foxes on site at Vegas, and so I was reaching out to random strangers on the internet. Anyone who posted a picture on Twitter of anything with Wi-Fi gear, I reached out to them and was like, "Hey, hunt these down for me. Help me beat this team." and nobody replied to me, which is fine because I'm still just a stranger on the internet. But Grimace, after he got done driving, he's like, "I'll go do it." It's like, yes. And so he walked around for a couple hours after. Man, I feel bad. He walked like all of Bally's and all of Paris, or most of Paris, because I thought that they were going to have them in hotel rooms because they were Wi-Fi boxes. That's normally what they do. But I guess that they were actually on a person. And so I told Grimace to walk all the hotels, and he walked all of Bally's, Paris before the contest was over. And I'm pretty sure he like met the fox. So yeah.
Oopsies. Lessons learned, right?
Yeah.
See, that's what makes a good team manager, right? He gets his players out on the field and go like, "You go do what you do." You know?
Yeah, and it's weird. That's kind of how it works out. Like everyone just kind of shows up and they're like, "Okay, what do we do?" And then everyone just kind of stares at each other until someone says something, right? Like,
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing is like that's the one thing I learned from my first responder training is that when you do first responder shit and you have to designate people to do certain tasks, you have to point at them and tell them, "You go call the ambulance. You go get the AED. You hold this guy down or whatnot." If you do someone, then nobody responds because they're like, who, right? So.
Yeah, it seems to be like human nature to assume somebody else is going to do it. And I imagine it's the same way in a CTF as well.
Yeah.
I know it's been that way on like some of the CTFs that I've participated in.
Yeah, pretty much any project that you want to work on with people where no one's getting paid to do it. Like if one person just starts displaying a bunch of interest in it and starts...
Hey, sorry, breaking news. Milkman is in trouble. His wife is coming up the stairs. or coming toward him.
Better get to bed.
Better pull your pants up, man. It's gonna be weird. So I'm like, honey, why are you pants down looking at three bearded guys?
Showing their antennas.
Showing their antennas.
It's quite a hot scene, I'm not gonna lie.
See, like you know, regular internet video chats have sausage fests. We have antenna fests.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you're screwed, and you're not getting screwed. So might as well head bits, Milkman, because from now on it's just gonna go downhill real quick. But
it's funny.
What was some of your best challenge, like best interaction with challenges that you had? Like, what was that like?
This year, I had a good idea of how to tackle pretty much all the Wi-Fi challenges, and that'd be the first time that, I mean, it was the first time my team had scored as much as they had without all the war driving points, and so knocking out the WPA3 flag right out the gate was awesome. Just because Blunderbuss has shared their tool with brute forcing that. So that was one of the first challenges that I did was knock out that. And that was, I think it's the most valuable Wi-Fi flag. And so knocking that out felt really good. Yeah. And just doing that, since I hadn't done it before, previously at other DEF CONs, I've had somebody else on the team that tackled whatever Wi-Fi challenges. So to take on pretty much all of them, other than like maybe one or two, that was really cool. And then having my teammates pick up the slack for the SDR stuff, because I really didn't touch any of it. I don't think I did. Yeah, before I've done like some of the Morse code challenges because they're fairly easy. But yeah, no, that was the best part, was just having teammates to rely on to just say, all right, I'm doing this, you do that. And yeah, no, that was the best part for sure.
Yeah.
Sweet dreams, Milkman.
Yeah, later.
He's going off to bed.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Real quick, one other thing that popped in my head was there some challenge that you were just like bashing your head against the table on and just like, man, like I got to pass this off to somebody else, or like this is way outside my comfort zone?
Yeah, the virtual fox hunting, that whole thing requires a bunch of math and all this stuff that I have just never even considered was a thing. I guess last year, one of the challenges is they had a drone doing a figure eight, and based on the signals that it was emitting, you had to determine the top and the bottom of the figure eight and the point at which it intersected in it. And it's like, one person has to spend like the whole contest like working on that. I don't know. That those are ridiculous. But yeah, those went unsolved on my team. There were 3 of them. We got the first one, but the second 2 we didn't get. As far as the SDR challenges go, we had all of them solved except for the International Space Station and then those 2 fox hunting ones. And I tried the space station one like 3 or 4 times, and still something wrong with my gear. I couldn't figure it out, and that's frustrating.
Well, and that one's hard too, right? Because you only have like a certain time window, a couple times a day, right?
Yeah, right. So it passes like 10 minutes or so ish, maybe. And
Right.
if it's a good one, if it's directly overhead, then yeah, good luck. But
Oh
yeah,
my
but
gosh.
other people who do it all the time just knock it out. Like, oh, what's the problem, man? Why can't you do it? I don't know. I've never done it.
Like Undefined Ref says, the TDOA challenge seemed interesting, but it was way out of my depth math wise there too. So
Yeah,
math is hard, especially if you're on math. But
for sure. Oh yeah, and if anyone is on a team or if anyone is not on a team and is looking for one, we would gladly take you on Team What the Freak. I know what it's like to sit there and play in a contest and not have people around you that are just as motivated as you. You can see it on the scoreboard when people are playing by themselves, because they'll get really high scores, like close to like 1,000, but because they don't have teammates with them, that's as high as they're going to get, because in the certain amount of time you have, you can only solve so many challenges as one person.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there is looking for a Team What the Freak,
this is gonna be the biggest team on the RFCTF.
But
like
also
300 players.
Just take you under it.
Just to point out, so we're not entirely biased. Undefined Ref also says that there's another team called Low Signal. That
They should join Low Signal. And I think what would be fun is that next year before the RFCTF, we'll have a couple episodes with different team.
Yeah, totally. That would be fun, and talk about strategy leading up to it.
Well, I mean, they probably won't share as much, but we should let them talk smack to each other, and and I guess you can also switch teams, right?
They try to discourage that by your points don't transfer over, but
right. No, but before the RFCTF starts.
Oh yeah. Before it starts, you can be on whatever team you want. It doesn't matter. But once you start scoring points, you're kind of set into where you are.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as much as I would want everyone to join my team so we could win every year, it's like
so. In other words, all the CTF players are free agents now until next year.
Right? Yeah, it's good to have competition. It's good to see that in the other teams, right? So it's not just one team kicking everyone's ass every year. It's cool that other teams are like, okay, I think I could do it. And you see more and more people step up year after year, recognizing the same teams. I mean, it's cool. I didn't know if they knew who my team was before, because we were basically always last when it came to the team scores. We were always like 5th or 6th. So they didn't know who we were. They know now.
That's congratulations. I'm sure that's a year of bragging rights that you can have. So
yep.
Yeah.
And I will milk it as much as I can.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I'm like I do that to Dark Matter all day, all year long. I'm like, hey, how many scores did you point?
Yeah, and it's very motivating and slightly demoralizing.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I see your points on or I see what you do on Strava, and I'm like, fuck, you guys out there running again. Here I am, half naked, eating a burger, drooling a Coke on my beard. Watching some strange anime porn, just like.
And it's like I go running so that I can go grab that burger, so I can eat that burger.
Hey, wytshadow, we really appreciate you coming on the show today.
For sure.
And
thank you so much.
It was
really
a great time,
you.
man.
And congratulations on having some awesome strategies, solving some challenges, and throwing together an awesome team.
Yes. Yeah. And where can people find you?
On Twitter, I'm at the Derricott. That's pretty much the only social media that I do. Yeah.
All right. I'll put it in the show notes, but just
I just realized that I have your nick and not your Twitter handle as the thing covering your thing. So oopsies. So maybe you should go register that one in case.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Says the guy who has different handles on every fucking social media. So. And like you tag dark matter on like
so
IG is just like a total different guy or
and it's
girl
not even
or
active. It's not even
so
active.
it's just like,
Buy it from them.
yeah.
so,
Just a reminder, you can go and do the RFCTF all year round, right? So you can jump on and start practicing.
Yeah, I think they keep it.
Yeah, they keep it up and going now that they've got it all virtualized and everything figured out. So that's
dude,
awesome.
Lozaling, you just showed up. We're almost done here, man. By the way,
don't worry, Lozaling. We have a YouTube channel, and
yes.
What did we get? We just hit 46 subscribers.
40 subscribers.
40 subscribers.
Only 9,060 to go.
No, 960.
960.
We need to get to 1,000. Help us get to 1,000. Only if you want to.
By the way, Lozaling, the new rigs does look cool.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
But yeah, all right. Well, thanks. A couple things we need to plug. Shout out to RF Hackers, Wiggle, all the contestants playing.
Shout out to Wiggle.
And
yeah, thank you all the contestants because this makes it
interesting. If I can ask the viewers a favor, please go tag the Councils of Rick so that they will come on the show next week. So I don't have to come up with the show title. Look, we had two champions. We had the champion of the war driving. We had the champion team of the CTF. It only makes sense. And we had Arcash from Wiggle. We're missing the Councils of Rick.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun wrap up with those guys.
Yeah. So
I really enjoyed their breakdown, but it was good. I think an informal conversation would be, especially and also if you're interested and want to ask questions, if this does happen, feel free to tweet at the Wireless Shit Show or at me or at Kentaro, and we'll throw those questions in.
Yeah. Other than that, the giveaway, I haven't forgotten. We'll get to it eventually. The thing just still live.
Things are cooling down. We should have it soon.
Yeah. Other than that, stay safe and keep doing wireless shit.
Yeah. And you guys have a great night. We love your faces. And we'll see you guys later. Thanks again for coming on, White Shadow. Appreciate you. All right. We're out of here. Laters.